Is there a quarterback controversy in Tallahassee? Does Mike Norvell need to make a switch? Can DJU turn it around? What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments as Richie and I talk about a tough decision that Mike Norvell needs to make. We appreciate BetUS for presenting today's video. All right, Richie, quarterbacks. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this. I will say this. I'll preface this with saying, like, I'm never really like hating on a kid. Like we may say that, this guy played well, this guy didn't play well. And I don't think DJU is the end all be all of all the issues that we have. So when we talk about these kids, like, they're getting paid a lot of money to play football. We're not taking personal shots, but if you play poorly, we are going to end up talking about it. I didn't think his wide receivers helped him out. I didn't think his tight ends helped him out super well. I didn't think the offensive line was great. Byers not being there was tough. So it's not all on DJ, but he does look pretty bad. He looks like he's regressed pretty significantly from his time at Clemson and Oregon State. There he was very hot and cold. He'd have good plays, he'd have bad plays, he'd have good games, bad games, whatever. And here it just doesn't look good. He can't hit guys. He missed a couple of touchdowns in the end zone. Granted, if LT catches a pass, on the first drive, we don't go 3 and out. If Morlock catches a couple, if Williamson catches a couple, like that, there was a lot of blame to go around, right? It's not just DJ, but man, he missed a lot of guys and just doesn't look good. And now that your season, we just kind of talked about this in the last segment. Now that your season is kind of over-ish, right? Is it worth it to keep him in there? Like, I think there's pros and cons for both ways. You obviously heard the crowd chanting a couple of times last night, "We want Brock." I had people texting me they could hear it on TV. You'd certainly hear it if you were anywhere in the vicinity of Tallahassee. And that sucks, man. Like, that sucks for DJ. Because I'm sure he's a great kid personally, and I don't really have any ill will towards him, but that sucks for him to have to hear that, and that kind of be what the crowd does. But at the end of the day, fans are coming to spend their money and spend their time, and if they think a change should be made, they certainly have the right to voice that opinion. They certainly have the right to make that decision. That's obviously on Norvell. But Richie, I'll let you start now that I've ranted for a minute. But thoughts on going to Brock, going to Luke, going away from DJ, why it would be a good idea, bad idea, what you would do, where you are on it. I will get right back to chatting with Richie, but first, let me give some love to our friends over at BetUS. You can use the link in our description right now to bet on anything you want. It doesn't just have to be college football. It can be NFL starting up this week. It can be WNBA. You can bet on Caitlin Clark. Whatever you want, they'll get you taken care of. But of course, we're just a day away from more college football. So make sure that you're using BetUS. You're using the link in our description to get a 125% deposit bonus match. Also, to get that up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. BetUS has some of the best lines in the game. They've got great customer service. Make sure you're using that link in our description to get betting today.
So I think there's 2 different mentalities here. And that's what makes it tough. Us as fans who do cover this team pretty religiously, but the fan side of me says, just move on. Like, I'm done with DJ. I don't need to see him ever take another snap at Florida State because, again, going back to our first segment, the season's over. All the goals are off the table except the state championship. And do you really think DJ gives you a better chance than Brock or Luke to win a state championship? Because that's the only goal that's really left that's attainable. And is that even really attainable? Miami, we give them hell. They looked pretty good. Cam Ward looked as advertised. I think that's going to be a very difficult game to win. I think Florida is a game that's a toss-up. It's a 50-50 game. But if you're the head coach, if you're Mike Norvell, in your mind, you cannot go there. You can't think all our goals are gone. In your mind, you're thinking, we can win these next 10 games. So me as the fan, as a no-name podcaster who y'all crack jokes at, I got ratioed to hell about saying we're going to beat the crap out of BC on Twitter yesterday, or X, whatever you want to call Elon's at these days. I think we should move on. And I really do, because 2024 to me is over. It's done. Like, it doesn't matter if you make it to the Pop-Tarts Bowl or or the Gator Bowl or Tax Slayer, whatever they call all these bowls nowadays. I don't know. I think you move on, because in my opinion, if you ride this whole season out with DJ, you're going to lose either Brock or Luke. One of them will transfer. If they don't transfer in December, they will transfer after the spring when they have an idea of who is winning that job. And why not play one, maybe play both, just to find out who is the future for 2025. Again, I get why Mike can't do that as a head coach, but as a fan, me looking forward to the future, I've already written this season off, DJ, and maybe that's I'm a fake fan. I don't know, but whatever they want to say on the social, but this season is done. Like, we're not going to the playoff. We're probably not going to Charlotte. It's a very, very unlikely situation we make it to Charlotte. So I want to see Brock or Luke or both play this year. And, I think about it as we all have buyer's remorse, right? We all make a purchase on something. Typically it's electronics or maybe a car or something. You buy it, you feel like you're in love with it. And then you're like, oh my goodness, what was I thinking? And sometimes you have to cut your losses. Maybe you bought in pretty heavy to a up and coming stock that you thought was going to have big returns, and it just does not happen. I think that's where we are with DJU at this point, and I hate that because he seems like an awesome young man, but at the same time, I think it's time to move on. You have a bye week. Let Brock Glenn start next week. Maybe see if Luke can get some burn, and that's where we need to be. Because I don't think DJU, he's gone after this year. He has 10 more games left at Florida State max. If we go to bowl game, he probably won't play. Granted, he's not going to play in the NFL, so that doesn't matter, but he'd still probably wouldn't even play in the bowl game. But that's kind of where my head is at, where I'm feeling right now. Looks like we lost TJ, so I'll keep ranting for a little bit. But I do think it's time to consider moving on from DJ Uiagalelei. And, it sucks to say that because I thought coming into the season, he was going to be good enough at this position to get us to potentially Charlotte. And if you get to Charlotte, you have a chance to get to the college football playoff. And if you get there, you just need to win a few games to move on. And that dream is gone. It's over at this point. I just don't see it happening. So I'm just not sure where we go. I get Mike has a much more difficult decision to make than me as a fan, but TJ and me as a fan, I'm moving on from DJ at this point. I don't think we have a choice but to. TJ, I just went on a big rant about why, as a fan, I think we need to get rid of DJ, not get rid of him, but move on from him. And I think you need to find out Luke or Brock, which one it is. Is it Chroma Hawk? Is it Glenn? Which one gives us the best chance moving forward in 2025 and beyond? Because obviously DJU has no more eligibility left, which we get. We find it's fine. We understand. It almost gives me 2015 Everett Golston vibes, where Jimbo thought we had a team that was put together, ready to make a big run. You had Dalvin Cook. You had a loaded roster, quite frankly, in 2015 still, and it just didn't work out, which is fine. But you should have moved on from Everett Golston sooner because he quit on the team at the end of the season anyway, if we're being honest. Didn't even show up to the Chick-fil-A Bowl against Houston, where you got embarrassed, and you had JJ Constantino taking snaps, which is a complete embarrassment. But yeah, man, I my opinion as a fan, move on. But I also get why Mike as a coach cannot. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I missed some of that. Just my computer had an issue too, so I'm on the phone now. Yeah, so I'll give you my thoughts, and sorry if some of this is repetitive from what Richie was saying. But so the reason I wouldn't, and I don't know this to be fact, right? But the reason I would not move on would be a couple of things. One, but I understand all the reasons to move on too. I'm okay if they want to move on. Why I would understand not moving on, maybe this is the best way to say this, is if Brock or Luke are like that much worse than DJ, to where like if you've got a chance to win a bowl or go to a bowl and stack wins, and there is a difference in going 7-5 and 3-9, right? Like if you think that like Brock coming in legitimately gives you zero chance to win any games, then I'm good to try and win as many games as you can. If you don't trust Brock to not get hurt behind this bad offensive line, if you don't want to ruin Brock for the future, and if you if those are some of your reasons for continuing to play DJ, then I'm okay with it. Would I like to see what Brock can do? Yes. I also, though I don't think they've been great this year, I also trust the coaches a little bit enough to be playing the better guy. Like, I don't think they're just playing DJ because of NIL or because of the portal or anything. Like, I think if they play DJ, they think he gives them a better chance to win. Now, if you were to lose to Memphis and then lose to Cal, like say you start 0-4, like you did back in whatever, or DJ comes out and throws 3 picks, or he just looks really bad, then I think you gotta bench him for his own health, right? Or for his own, just you gotta move on. But if you lose a couple of games and the season truly is over, like you lose to Memphis and Cal and you realize like, oh, we ain't going to a bowl. Like there's no way we're, beating Clemson and Miami and Notre Dame and stuff on the back end of this thing to make a bowl. Then I think it doesn't matter. Like, and I agree with you on the idea that the season's kind of over anyway. Like it's a wash. It's, it's not salvageable. But if you've got a chance to make a bowl, if you got a chance to show improvement, then you need, and they did drive the ball a little bit yesterday. I mean, they couldn't finish in the red zone, but that's, whatever. So anyway, those would be my thoughts for keeping him. I'm not saying that you should keep him in. I'm just saying I can understand if they did based on those things. The other thing, I saw this tweet on today from maybe it was Booger McFarland. Maybe I don't know who it was. Harlan, it's on my timeline. I don't know, but it's probably a pain in the butt to go get. But essentially, like the question was, if you're is one of the unintended consequences of paying NIL, and he didn't mention DJ, didn't mention FSU, but it was tweeted during the game last night. Basically said like, is one of the unintended consequences like you really can't bench him because you're paying him so much money in NIL.
No.
I don't think that's a thing. Because it is pay for play, but it's not technically pay for play, right? And so the money is already being paid, whether he plays or not. You got to give yourself the best chance to win. Like if Jordan would have been bad, if Jordan would have thrown 5 interceptions in a game, we would have pulled him at some point. Now I'm not saying we would have pulled him for the rest of the year, but we would have gotten him out, right, of that game, and we'd have still paid him his NIL money. So to me, I don't necessarily know that I think like Norvell would just like have a pride thing where he's like, I picked DJ, I'm sticking with DJ because I'm paying him all this money. I think it's more like I don't trust the other guys to go in. Like I know DJ's not great. I don't trust the other guys to go in. Luke has been on campus for 8 months, or 9 months now, I guess. And yeah, we're in September now. And Brock, I don't know if he's ready or not. I don't know that he isn't. I don't know that he is. But again, I don't think DJ making a lot of money through NIL or being a starter or transfer or whatever. I don't think if he comes out and throws 3 picks in the first half against Memphis, he's out. Like it's not even close. But we'll see, right? They got 2 weeks to try and figure stuff out. I would expect both guys to take a lot of reps. It would not surprise me if Brock played some against Memphis. Whether things are going really good or really bad, I don't know. But it would surprise me if he started. Like I'd be pretty surprised if DJ didn't start the game. If I'm wrong on that, then we'll have something else to talk about through the next week or so. But I expect DJ to start. I said this after Georgia Tech, man. I think you have a lot of issues, and he is one of the leading ones. But to me, there's so many other issues that I don't think putting Brock in to me ain't gonna fix anything. Like that's not gonna help. It makes you feel better, but I don't think it helps anything. I don't think it helps your overall win losses. It just gets him ready for next year. A little bit more.
So again, like I asked you at the beginning, what are your thoughts? Do you think Norvell should make a change? Do you think he should make a change just for the sake of doing it? Or do you think Brock will be better? Do you think it can't get any worse? I want to hear from you down below. Appreciate BetUS again for bringing today's video to you guys. We appreciate you guys' support. If you want to see my thoughts immediately after the game, you didn't watch it yet, you can click the video on the screen right now to check it out.